Hey guys, Sean here. Gonna do a fabrication type project today, and I want to show you how I go about that. It's for something really simple, but it's also something that is so simple that it's really hard to find a part for. And it's just for a filing cabinet, and I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. So here we go. So right there is basically where the file folder would hang. And we moved and we lost the little brackets that hold the second bar in here. I still have one of the brackets, so I got to make the one bracket we lost. So that's what we're going to do right now. Alright, so today we're going to make something very simple that you can't really find anywhere. I figured I'd just show you how I'm going to make it. I can't find a replacement piece like this anywhere to order. It came with a file drawer, so this is just kind of like a everyday kind of tip kind of thing. Like if you were to find or need to make something like this, it's actually fairly easy, and I'll show you how to do it. Alright, so what we're going to need is a small piece of sheet metal that's the same gauge. I just eyeballed it and it's slightly thicker, but it's close enough and it'll work. And also I believe this is galvanized steel, whereas this is aluminum, and for what I'm making it for, to hold filing cabinet bar for the file, it's going to work, and it's going to be easier to work with actually because it's aluminum. You usually can find sheet metal like this pre-cut at like Ace Hardware or other industrial hardware type stores. What you're going to need is something to mark with: permanent marker, scribe, aviation or tin snips. I got two kinds. Actually I have a third one. I don't think I need the third one. And then you can cut. You could do this with a Dremel if you wanted to cut it out that way. It's just a little bit more work. And so we're going to go right at it. Let's see here. So these are a little bit of a challenge to work with, but as you can see, once it starts cutting, it's very fast. It's like cutting paper almost. And I'm not too concerned with it being bent because I'm going to bend it anyways. And I can always give myself a little extra length, because I can always cut it shorter. Can't add to it. So that's pretty much my piece. See how fast that was? Alright, now you could do this with pliers, or you could use a sheet metal brake, and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, here are the pieces. So the trick is to bend these in the right order and direction. And so normally you feed it through the back and do your bends and so on. So sometimes it can get a little tricky when you get intricate bends. You have to know what order to do it in. So we're gonna go for it here. And this sheet metal brake I've had for a while, and I don't have any room to store it indoors, so I have to keep it oiled. So that, and I cover it so that way it doesn't rust on me. Alright. That's pretty easy. Just 90-degree bend. Boom. And because it's aluminum, you can literally just flex it by hand to get the bends better. But if you want a nice clean right angle bend, there you go. See? Pretty simple. So here's what I'm talking about: when you bend it the other way, it's going to come back on itself. So that is part of the trick on these, is to know when to bend and where to bend. So up. this back in there. No, I can't. There we go. So I got somewhat of a... Alright, so after some playing with the order of bending and a little bit of manipulation with the brake, I got the two pieces to look almost identical, and this will definitely work for what I want it for. All it's going to do is hold a bar that goes in the slot. So the next thing I got to do is cut the slot, and what I'm going to do with that is use a Dremel for that. So what I'm doing here is I'm just using a pair of vice grips to hold the bracket so that I can cut it. You can this is a good solution if you don't have a vise or a workbench, or your workbench has got so much stuff on it and you just want to do a quick cut. This is one way to do it. Vise and workbench is way more comfortable and a lot easier, but this is one way to do it if you had to do it this way. So alright, so here I'm switching out to a like a little mill end, and the reason for that is I made my slot cuts that I wanted to make, and this is what they kind of look like. And without cutting too much, the wheel's too big, so I actually scuffed this, and I don't want to cut any lower than I've already cut here, so I'm going to go in with this and work it out so that way I can make a nice clean slot so that it will be very similar to the slot in here. So that's why I'm switching the heads, and so it requires a little bit of a different way to get in there without ruining the rest of the metal. Alright, so here's the piece. A little marred up, but it's going in a filing cabinet and it's going to hold a file, so I'm not too worried about it, but it will get the job done for what I want it to do and hold the piece. If you guys ever run into a project where you need to make something like that, you can always feel free to ask me for advice, or I could make a video on it or whatever, and we can go from there and hopefully you'll learn something. Alright, as usual, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you later. Bye.